Alright, Altars by Kronos here. We're going to bring you a 4 Horsemen match. I hope you guys enjoy these. But first we're going to check out the intro.
Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the 4 Horsemen.
Alright, so before we go too far, I'm going to leave this up here for a minute so you can pause it. If you need any information, again, the easiest way to get all this stuff is just join my Discord. It literally costs nothing. I never ask for anything at all. It's just an easy way for me to play with guys who want to play all the time or test for matches or tournaments and stuff like that. They don't have to worry about the whole world jumping in to watch their decks or anything like that. So you guys can come here, play, do whatever you want, or just chit chat. It's fine with me. This is my Texas Old School deck. I'm sorry, not Texas Old School. This is my 4 Horsemen deck. Now, as I said that, I'll let you know that this deck from Brian Wiseman Gaming Idea, he does this. He has a conversion box. So the deck is converted between all the different versions. So I'll let you know the goods, bads, and what my thoughts are. And some ideas I have. And if you guys have inputs, please put some suggestions in here. So what I found out about this deck so far is it is actually a lot more controlling than you might think, even though it only has one creature or one true counterspell and 3 creature counterspells. The deck is extremely controlling. The only thing I was missing was like a Disrupting Scepter, so I thought maybe Wands of Ith. I've never played them. I was told they're crap, but basically for 3 mana, the opponent loses life or discards a card. So if it's a good card, it's in this format probably going to be at least 2 life or more, and they may not want to lose that life. So I'm not really sure how this is going to play out, but it's either that or I think the best option is to change to 2 Amnesia's main deck and just go that route with it. The sideboard, I realize there's a lot of dead cards in there. I do not need the Dust to Dusts. Feldon's Cane is really not necessary in here. Tormod's Crypt, I'll keep it in here only because there's a lot of All Hallows Eve and 4 Horsemen. COPs, depending on what I put in for weenie decks, because that's my only downfall, is non-red. So your green and white are very hard for me to take control. But what I'm playing against here is another control deck, but it does have 16 creatures in it, I believe. I do not have deck pictures for his because this is a tournament, so this is before we are allowed to share. So let's get down to the game and let's see what happens. I don't remember who got first. Me having my hand there, it looks like he did. Alright, so there's a Teleria into a Flying Man. Now the reason I said white weenie, green I really haven't had that much of a problem with, truthfully. But white weenie, I did. And that's because white weenie in this format, most people don't play them. There's basically 2 different cards you can play that are like Crusade. So basically it's like playing 8 Crusades in your deck. But there is a card that says, I think it's 2 white, and it says remove all white creatures from the game. Well, I don't have white creatures. So it's basically a Wrath of God made love to a Sword of Plowshares for only white. So I might throw one of those in the sideboard just to say, hey, you know what, forget the weenie decks that are white I have problems with, let's nuke your whole board and make sure you can never get them back. But see, this is what I was talking about, that normally this would be a problem. So the Flying Man can't do anything. I'm expecting unstable mutations as soon as I see Flying Man. So there's a Spirit Link to stop that. Here's a Factory. Factory is going to be a problem. There's a lot of artifact removal though, so you have to be careful with that. So now he's got extra mana. He's trying to decide with the colors I have open. He's like, no way I'm attacking because we only have the one factory. So factories are not to be thrown out. So see, I played my singleton volcanic islander, excuse me, early. So that indicates to me that I have some kind of mana challenges, because usually I will keep that until last. It's either that or I had no other blue source and I want a double blue for mana drain. Now there's a desert. Alright, there's a city. Alright, so there was, I believe, a question coming up. He was thinking of using his own desert to destroy his flying man. Now, desert's an interesting card. The challenge with desert is it's been reprinted. So Magic gets to change the rules of desert. Desert does 1 damage to an attacking creature. But let's check out the wording. Desert does 1 damage to target attacking creature. Activate only during the end of combat step. So that's actually important. So you have to wait until the end of combat step, which occurs after combat damage is dealt. You cannot use it to prevent combat damage. Now here's it can target any attacking creature, including its own, or those in combat you aren't involved with. Basically like multiplayer games. So if you use commander guys out there who are worried about weenies, that's an easy way to absolutely destroy them. So his thought process initially was probably correct on that. I believe I'm going to skip ahead some of this so I can see some rules here for you, because we're looking it up because I've never used Desert in that way. I rarely ever play it, truthfully, so we had to kind of check some rules here. Alright, so he decided against it for now, because here's the thing about Spirit Link. The damage is still dealt first. So if he stepped on like 5, 6, 7 things, buffed it up to like a 20/20, I would die, even though I had Spirit Link on it, because I'd have to take the damage first and hit 0. So there's a dib. I'd cast Remove Soul. Now, I was distracted in this game. It was just me and my son, and he was next to me. So I have to keep very close eyes on him. So there's times I will miss things in some of the videos. If I miss something, just let me know. But just remember, it's because I'm watching my kid at the same time, and 90% of the time, I'm not watching the screen. So I always ask my guys to announce when they play a creature. I haven't played this gentleman that much, and I forgot to remind him of that. So I think there's 1 or 2 times where a creature was played and I didn't even know, because I had my head totally tilted and I turned and it was my turn. I went, okay, cool, it's my turn. And then I realized there's a creature on the board and I was like, oh, poop. So there's a Sullivan library on my end. But as you can see here, you see how this control is going off. So far we have a factory, a dib, and a flying man. And unknown to me right now, but I found out later, he had a whole handful of unstable mutations. So all he needed was something to get through a few times. But so far nothing's been able to really get through enough times to really do anything to me. And now I just played a factory. So now he has to watch that. Now I also have a card in my hand, which I remember now I had Pyrotechnics in my hand. So you talk about missing Fireball on 4 Horsemen. Well, how many times are you really doing more than 4 damage with Fireball? And I can hit 4 targets for 5 mana. How much mana does it cost you to hit 4 targets with Fireball? A lot more than that, because it's 1 mana per creature, so that's 4. 1 mana per switch, that's 3. Mana to cast, that's 4. You're talking 8 mana for 4 creatures. I just did it for a lot less than that. So it has its drawbacks, but it has its bonuses too. But I've won many games with Pyrotechnics. This is a longer game because this ended up being almost like 2 control decks against each other because I kept taking away his creatures. And my thing is I wasn't sure what I was against. Part of my thought process with my deck is in the sideboard for the deck, I always put in the 4 Hypnotic Specters. Well, I don't have anything to take away your hand, but I thought the other day, why not put in 4 Dibs? And maybe I don't need all of the creature control that I'm trying to put in there. Maybe I just need some other ways to control it. Now see, this is where I made a play error. So he blocks with his 1/1. And this is where I was confused because I was like, wait a minute, you can't do that right now. We're still in combat. So I'm a little confused. So combat, that's why I said we had to play this out, so I had it right. So combat goes off, and Desert's there, and I forgot all about Desert. I forgot that card was even out. So that's when I was like, wait a minute. That's right, combat, it's after combat. So we corrected the after combat move, and he snuck the Desert in there, which is props to you, brother. Bad for me for not realizing it was there. So I actually lost my important factory from a play error here. So always pay attention to what's on the board. A lot of guys miss Maze of Ith for the same exact reason. I just messed up my factory. Alright, so there we go. Factory's in the bin. And see, this is where the Spirit Link should be in the graveyard, and I should... Yep. So my Spirit Link isn't really on the table anymore. That's the problem without having things on creatures. So I wanted to test. He's attacking with a factory. I wanted to see what kind of deck he had. So I used 2 Divine Offerings on his factory to see how bad he really needed that factory. What I can see now is he's a blue and white. There's no duels. So he's not playing a lot of extra colors. I don't need to worry about artifacts as much. And I have plenty of ways I can destroy a factory. So that was me doing Sullivan, forgetting what was in my hand, checking my hand again, going back to Sullivan Library. That's the reason in this format, or any online games, you want to make sure your hand is on the table at all times. Because as soon as your hand goes off combat and things start moving, you don't know what opponents are doing. They could be taking cards from the sideboard, and believe it or not, happens way more than you can possibly imagine. So there's my selected card, and I'm just going to pass. Again, I'm pretty heavy control. I don't mind taking damage from factory a little bit, but it seems like flash counters are being main decked a lot in Texas Old School and Four Horsemen, and I'm kind of shocked because especially in Four Horsemen, there's really not that many instances. Excuse me again. Jeez, sorry guys. Man. But there's really not that many instances. I looked over, I don't know, probably 8 tournaments worth of deck photos, and there's maybe 4 instances. There's really not that many. There's the pass. So now all his protection is away. So he's afraid to attack with the factory because he has no ability to protect it. But that's the other card I was looking for, Strip Mine. So boof, gone. I had to dig for Sullivan Library to find my Strip Mine, but alright, so now it starts getting a little bit wonky for me, trying to figure out, okay, what am I at? But he's doing what I was trying to explain to these guys 2 tournaments ago. Land Tax is an amazing card. It doesn't have to be comboed with anything. If you take 6 lands out of your deck, what's the percentage of you drawing a land? A lot less. If you have tower, cool, bonus. If you don't, whatever. You're drawing less lands every turn. Alright, so I played tower. He's going to use Divine Offering. I'm going to boomerang it back to my hand. Now I have another boomerang in this deck, but as of right now I can tell I really don't need boomerang that much. But there's a card I didn't expect. That's usually my thing. But I kind of laughed here joking around with him. Hey, you playing my deck? We were kind of laughing around a little bit and joking. But that is a great play. Amnesia's huge. Alright, so pause right here. What I ended up doing in response to Amnesia is I Divine Offering his stone. So I should gain 1 net life on that because I tapped the city. But I'm losing what you already know, the tower. I'm losing Oubliette, Remove Soul, and Coffin. Amazing cards. So that was me showing what I lost. There's the Divine Offering. And I forgot the city damage. Does not matter in here, but bad me. Maybe I'll remember here, but he was asking me to go back and show him the hand again. So I went back to show the hand. You just saw my kitty sitting with me. So I had a lot of distraction. Sorry about the city. Hopefully I remember at some point, but it doesn't actually matter in this game. That point of life doesn't mean anything. And here's an underrated card. Also helps with weenie decks called Fountain of Youth. So on end step, I'm going to gain life with Fountain. Then I'm going to go to my turn and proc Sullivan Library. There's another scrub. And a stone. And a pass with 1. I ended up taking more. That's why you see the life dice missing there. I took extra cards. Now, don't forget, I actually don't mind doing that. A, because of Fountain of Youth. B, because I play Mirror Universe. And I already know he went through some of his Divine Offerings. Most people do not play more than 2 Divine Offerings. There's no reason to. Me, I do it for life. One is Mirror Universe combo, like I just talked about in Texas Old School Deck Tech. If you haven't watched that, watch my deck tech, the new one on Texas Old School, and you'll see my deck, and I talk about Mirror Universe, and I talk about it's basically like allowing someone to fireball themselves. Play the card, they're going to do a bunch of mana burn to themselves so you don't gain all the life. But all you do on their end step is Divine Offering your own Mirror Universe, and you go up higher than they are. So all they did was fireball themselves. Looks like we had another stone. He's going to proc his book on my end step. Now what I should be doing is keeping a dice on top of my deck, and that's going to remind me of anything I need to do on end step. So it's going to remind me to gain life, and it's going to remind me to do Sylvan Library Trigger. So there's a time elemental. Not really stressing that. I thought I had a Pyrotechnics before, but I did not. I think maybe I have it in my hand now. Yeah. Looks like I have the Pyrotechnics in my... Oh no, I have Oubliette. That's even better. Let's remove that sucker. So technically he's phased out. Or exiled behind Oubliette. Sorry, Coffin does like phasing, but this is like Oubliette. I think they even tried to change Coffin's wording away from phasing. But it still acts like phasing. There was a weird ruling, I don't know if it was this game or another game, but I had to look it up on Magic the Gathering, and according to Magic the Gathering, even if, depending on the timing you do things, Coffin won't permanently exile, excuse me again, geez, Coffin won't permanently exile your creature. Depending on the timing, if it has already been successfully done, and your creature is already in there, and Coffin is destroyed later on, your creature comes back. So there's a really powerful card that I was thinking for Old School, because it pings your opponent, but it also can return, I believe, creatures to your owner's hand. So it's very powerful. It's not as powerful as Time Elemental, which I'm probably going to definitely put 2 Time Elementals in my sideboard. Probably the White Wrath of God. I don't know yet if I'll play Deserts or not. I might throw a couple Old Men of the Sea in there. So, and it's not necessarily to take your creatures and sack them to Diamond Valley. If I had a lot of extra cards I can do that way. I thought about that, but it would take my entire sideboard. So I thought maybe something like, 4 dibs, 2 Time Elementals. If I main deck 2 Amnesias, that'll give me enough hand control. I still want to try 1 Amnesia and 2 Its, because what are you going to lose? All your life in 2 turns? I'm going to hit you for 2 cards a turn, and what are you going to lose all your life, or are you going to discard your cards? So you're not going to kill yourself. So you're eventually going to have to discard your card, and that's where I want to get to, of you discarding things. Worst case scenario, you're going to lose life, and I'm going to see what the card in hand is. So I don't think it's as bad as some people say, but I have to try it out. That's what test games are for, right? Because the idea of it is basically to know what's in your opponent's hand. And if you can, discard something. Disrupting Scepter, they're going to discard their lands and their stupid cards a couple times. But this is at random. It's like a Hypnotic Spectre, but not as good. It's not a guaranteed, I'm going to discard this card. Okay, there's the Pyrotechnics. I knew I had something. So I'm going to blow up that dude. And I'm going to do the rest of the damage to him. Now, that doesn't sound crazy right now, but I should be using Fountain because I don't have a counter on top of my deck. I'm forgetting. There we go. There's the counter back on. So now I'll remember on end step to use Fountain every turn and then proc myself in Library. I really wish I had some of those old counters, the little gems. Man, what I would do, I would kill for some of those things. What do we got now? Oh, Divine Offering. So he's going to Divine Offering my life gainer. He said another card name, but I thought he meant that one, so I'm going to use it in response. And there's the pass turn. Because it was declared on end step, I wasn't so worried about the other things. So now that's just a reminder for Sullivan Library. And there's my own amnesia. That's why I wasn't so worried. There you go. Spirit Link, 4 unstable mutations. That whole game, he just needed one non-factory to survive for 1 attack. And if you notice that entire game, all of those creatures, not a single one got to attack. Even Tile Elemental would have killed me. Yes, it does 5 damage to him, but when you have plus 12 on your Time Elemental and a Spirit Link, that 5 isn't going to do anything when you're losing 5 and gaining 12. That's a lot of net gain and a lot of death to your opponent. So this shows you, even with only 1 counterspell, and I have not had it yet, I should say true counterspell, the deck is very controlling. I don't expect to win overall until I adjust my sideboard. There's Abyss. That's one way to get around the weenies. There is no Wrath of God in here. I will put the white Wrath of God in here. Especially since, I need a way to get rid of white. But Pyrotechnics is also a good way around it. You wipe a whole bunch of your opponent's creatures out. I know it's hard to read some of these. I did not have my new light. I had a defective light for a while, and I was trying to save up for another desk lamp. I know they're kind of cheap, but I got a lot going on at the moment, so I did get a nice new lamp, which is nice and bright. I used it for my deck tech, seemed to really clean it up a lot. Took away a lot of little fuzzy action there, which is like a night vision going on. There's Coffin. So now I'm setting up for the win. He may not realize it, but I already know the game's over. As long as I don't make a play error, I should have no issues winning this game. That's actually a card he needs. He just doesn't realize it. Because he hasn't seen any creatures. So there's another land tax. If he wanted to, he can rip all the lands out of his deck. But right now we are still even with 6. I'm not actually playing a land right now until I need it, which I might need to start putting them out there. We were asking what's in my sideboard, so I was kind of going through it myself to see, hey, how many of what did I play? Do not forget, recall is a real card. You don't have regrowth, but you do have recall. Oh, there's Phoenix. Looks like both my kiddos are sitting with me, actually. That's my daughter's stuffed animal Phoenix. That was her first pet, or stuffed animal that she's ever had. She got it from her, I believe it was her preschool teacher or one of the teachers as a gift when she was born. So she's had it ever since, and she's loved it. Yep, there's a big recall. So I'm asking if there's any responses. He's going to draw, praying for a mana drain probably. Nope, there's not a walk. I truthfully think that should be a sideboard. There's 3 lands. As you see here, I could have played lands, but I decided not to. I didn't want him to trigger land tax. Okay, so let's see what I decide here. I know some of the cards I was probably going for at the moment, but I wanted to see exactly what I needed. I want the factory back, because that was a play error on my end. So there's the 3 cards I took. I took Tower, surprised me a little bit. I don't really know why I took Tower. Sorry, before I had to grab something for my kid real quick. Alright, so we're back here. Let's see what happens. I believe I passed the turn. Yeah. I was just counting the cards I had left in my hand. Oh, I had to open something for my kiddo. That's what it was. Now he knows what's in my hand. So he's got to try and do something because he's going to lose his entire hand. So he's going through his graveyard to try and find out what's going on, what's happening. Unfortunately, he still can't proc his land taxes to take all his lands out because I still have the same amount of lands. I think I even have an additional land in my hand. Alright, so we're back. Sorry about the interruptions there for a second. I'm taking my turn here. It looks like I'm tapping for an ivory tower. I'm still not sure why I took ivory tower. I think I should have took a divine offering and got rid of his book or something like that with it later, but... Oh, there's a Maze of Ith. That's right, I wasn't stressing it. So he has 2 blue up. I'm expecting Mana Drain and Boomerang in hand. So now he's going to Boomerang his dip back to his hand on end step. So it doesn't get eaten, because even if he Boomerang my Abyss, it's not going to save it. Now, I'm actually assuming he's doing very well with his deck. I don't know, but it is, I think, a very strong deck. I just don't think it's good against mine. Anything with a deck not full of a bunch of 1/1 weenies that are not red is not going to help you. Basically is what I learned. So right now he's realizing he doesn't have a win condition. So I was looking through realizing that I had this game hand down. I'm going to wipe his hand out. I'm going to start dropping Triskelions and kill him, and he has nothing left to stop me. So we're going to go to sideboard. Again, I'll let this play for a second, but you'll see we roll. So you'll see 6 piles, and then we roll, and then we pick. So we already did the rolling, so now we're putting everything back randomly. That is a very good way to do online if you guys are looking for something to make sure people don't cheat. Alright, he gets to go first again here. I think I mulliganed here, so I'm not sure. I just want to double check. That's why I'm letting this part play out a little bit. I think I drew a bad hand. Yep. Alright, so there's plains into a land tax. Don't really remember much about this game, so let's see what happens. Well, that's a non-blue source. Scrubland. Wonder if I have an oubliette in hand. That's probably telling me I have an oubliette. Looks like we're discussing a few different things here. I believe what we were talking about was how good land tax is just for draw engine. Even if it's not tied to any other card, it's a great way to filter. It looks like there's the pass turn. Let's see what I draw here. We were talking about sets and stuff and different types of decks. So there's a quick screenshot of some of his cards there he was talking about for artifacts. Alright, so now the pass is, it is officially my turn. I believe I had a Sullivan Library or something. I don't know if it was right away or not, but it's definitely a good answer, because I think I had some pretty bad land choices in my hand. Alright, so there's catch back up here. Was correct. It looks like I had a City of Brass for green into a Sullivan Library, and I pass turn. So obviously he's going to proc his land tax, but I know he's not going to keep himself at 1 because he didn't have any 1-drop creatures. So he's going to do what we talked about, basically just grab lands out of his deck, so this way he can draw more non-land cards every turn. And with things like the other tome, you can discard the lands that you taxed for. And now that you know you have such a high % chance, you're going to sacrifice those lands for actual meaningful cards. And again, I really don't care about my life total that much. I main deck Mirror Universe, as you guys know. There's a lot of ways to play it. I have plenty of Divine Offerings. If you're curious about 4 Horsemen, no, definitely do not play 4 Divine Offerings main. I do it because most of them are life gain for myself. I currently have some extra cards in here. Like I have 3 coffins. Don't need 3 coffins. So one of them is probably going to go away. Alright, sorry about that. I wanted to skip all the conversations out. I know some of you guys don't like me skipping ahead, but when it is a 10-minute conversation like that just was, I don't feel like you're watching a game where nothing happens for 10 minutes. So I cut that stuff out. So we're going back. He played a land, played a dib. It's technically Torment. Not really supposed to let the take back, but he forgot that they just taxed. So he didn't want to end up playing it because it would have got him off of land tax. And he knows I do Spirit Link's main, so it's a good move for him because I believe I have Spirit Link in hand. If not, I know I can dig for 1. What am I tapping to for? Stone? Yeah. Yep, because he already has white, so that's a perfect indicator to him that A, I have 1 of 2 cards in my hand, or both. I have a mana drain, or I have a Spirit Link. Now I have 4 mana there. I might end up... Yeah, see, I don't really care about the land tax as much right now. I need more mana. I need to win the resource game. Yep, there's another stone. I know he has to get the 4 mana. So he has to play a land or another stone at some point. I actually don't mind him at all doing this. I will always take his hand out. So there's the land tax. There's the draw. Do we see that dib? Yep, there's that dib. Am I going to do anything about that dib? Or am I going to Spirit Link that thing? Let's see what happens. Oh, I should have untapped my lands first, but Looks like I'm going right to Sullivan Library trigger and forgetting untap phase. There's a Maze of Ith. Remembering I never untapped. That's why I wasn't stressing it too much. I knew a maze. Alright, so I don't have a link, but I do have a Maze of Ith. So that's another card that just makes those kind of things ping themselves. So if you think about it, main deck, I have 4 Spirit Links and a Maze of Ith. So their creature's not going to be able to do anything. They're just going to ping themselves. Eventually I'll put a Spirit Link on it. But right now he can't dip all his heavy I'm going to destroy you cards on it. He's not going to dip his 4 unstable mutations because it's not going to do him any good. It's just going to give me a whole bunch of life. So, yes, I said gain a whole bunch of life. Technically, yes, but my life total will stay the same because it's damage dealt and then life gained. But with Maze of Ith, it's not going to do anything other than just stay unstable mutation kill itself. But I do need to find a second answer. Looks like I'm a little in the tank here. Hey, kiddo.
It's bright.
Yeah, it's a nice little light, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks like I'm playing another scrubland.
We should get assuming that thing for our next dog.
Yeah. Oh, there's a greed. So greed is main decked in this one, just so I can draw extra cards. Hey T, what time's your class start?
9:10.
What is it?
9:10.
Oh. I was just checking because my kids are already getting ready to come in, so. And no, I'm not at work right now. Anyone listening? We have a virtual day today. So I'm sitting here with my computer and no one in the building yet to help, so I'm doing this while I'm waiting. So there's the tax. There's another damage from Dib. Tyranny, is your mom up? Okay, good. The only thing I'm afraid of is amnesia. Okay, so now here's a card that does affect me, but cripples him. So I'm a little curious on why he's playing it. I mean, he does have boomerangs, so he might get a swing or two in there, but it's going to stop my Spirit Link and Oubliettes. It's going to stop my Abyss. It's not going to stop Coffins. Alright. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Had to get some of my kids set up. They don't technically start school yet, but we were talking about that card enchantment he played. If you know what that enchantment's called, put it in the comments for me. Let's see if you guys can figure it out. But it allows no enchantments to be played after that one. So there was me hesitating with a land for a second, so you knew I had a Spirit Link. So let's see what else I got. Okay, there's Mirror Universe. Now this you have to watch too. You're taking a damage a turn. Now technically right there we should have separated into 6 piles, a minimum 3. Looks like we were distracted there and forgot to do that. But we always do that because when someone brings their deck into their hand, we want to make sure they're not stacking it for themselves. And having something like that happen. Because then you don't know if that was stacked that way or if it was a true draw. That's why you always do the piles. Now I was reminding him he can't do that. So he's playing enchantments right now, but he can't play enchantments. Did I take the damage? Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way. Looks like I missed it at the moment there too. But yeah, you can't play enchantments with that card out. That includes yourself. So basically I would just lose 3. Again, this is where the problems come in. Here's the untap. Looks like I'm trying to decide how. Alright, so we're talking about greed. So I was drawing X amount of cards and taking X amount of life. He was asking about greed with Mirror Universe. So I had to pause. Did not tap my land yet. I announced how many, but I was pulling up the rules with greed to show him, and then I will correct this. I'm going to fast forward this part so you guys know where I'm at, but basically stopped midway of, hey, I'm going to pay this much life, draw this many cards, and you can proc greed before Mirror Universe, because greed is on the stack. Alright, so after all the rules and everything, I finished what I was doing there, so you'll see all the tapped land there. So now we're back to normal. I only actually drew 4 cards. I put everything back because we had to go over the ruling for greed. So if you have a question about something someone's doing, stop them before they start doing the action. I should have tapped my lands first. That's my play error. Now greed is done. Now Mirror Universe triggered. Now Sylvan Library triggers. I was asking how much life he was at because it was so fast I didn't actually see what his life total was. And I didn't want to pause the recording, so again, my hand is on the table. I drew my one card. Now let's see what I end up doing here. I have 3 mana open. I can play another one. Well, looks like I did. Looks like I played a scrub land. Discarding a city. And looks like I didn't draw much of anything. Yeah, I was going to say, Mirror Universe is supposed to be gone. Right, there's a stone for 2. Link for 1, unstable for 1. Remembering we can't do it again. He still has to pay 2 for his stone, though. There's another accidental play error. He should have tapped 2 mana for his stone. The 2 planes should still be tapped. It's not going to matter, but we all make mistakes. I am very far from perfect. Greed was a perfect example. I forgot to tap my lands before I announced it. You guys can't hear me announce things in game. So I'm playing at your Scallion. Tapping 1 for greed. Can't do anything about the remove soul. So there's the kill that I couldn't get off. I still don't have my mana drain. But he's going to take a damage from his dib, going to 2. So he should be at 2 life right now. Yeah, I thought I had 4 mana. So there's, yeah, I tapped everything right. So he's going to attack for 3. Looks like I almost gave all my cards away there. Pulled another blue source out. Ah, Nova Pentacle. I can redirect damage from a creature. So the damage doesn't apply to me. It technically hits me after combat's completed. So if you do 22 damage to me, my life does not go down. It just takes the damage that's supposed to be applied to me and gets redirected to something else. So he's going to bounce back his own enchantment because it's been killing him the whole game. Now, mind you, I've had oubliettes and spirit links and all kinds of stuff in my hand. So even if that wasn't there, I had more than enough control. Now, he will gain life from this. If I had something to do about it, I definitely would. Unfortunately, I don't. But this is basically just going to prolong. He's not going to kill me. It's going to do 0 damage to me. But all this is going to do is give him a bunch of life and prolong the game a little bit. And I'll win. Oh, there's an error from me. I forgot that he replayed his card. Like I said, I had multiple, I think I had at least 1 Spirit Link. I know I had an oubliette. I had a bunch of control enchantments and stuff in my hand. So there, he's going to take a damage. They're going to double minus his creature. There I am, redirecting it to itself again. There's an amnesia. I will pay the 1 for the spike. Now, I thought he had 5 cards in hand. At that time, that's why I played it. That's part of the thing about keeping your hand on the table at all times. I thought pass with 5 was 5 cards in hand. Apparently it was not. It was only 1 card in hand. So I was confused on it, but at least I got rid of the card. Now I should be taking his dip damage as well. Again, I'm not worried about 20 life at all. Does not bother me. Alright. Kid needed a little help there, guys. Sorry. Yeah, hi, Pat. Oh, there's another. I think it's about to die this next round. There's seltzer water there.
You didn't buy water?
No, I did not.
I would have got that. I thought you were getting water. Damn it. No water in the house today. Awesome.
Oh, there's 4. Wish I could show what's in hands at the time. I feel like maybe taking a little tablet and keeping notes off to the side. I believe I had a recall.
Oh. Working.
Yep, there's the recall. Alright, there's the hand you saw me ditch, a whole bunch of enchantments. Yeah, I talked to her about it. Alright, I picked up my Nova by accident. Those are all the cards in the graveyard. You'll see my removed from the game on top. Play the Maze of Ith again here. Let's see here. That's all I probably should do, and I should pass. Yep, his creature dies this turn. No more enchantments can be played. I already know his boomerang's in a graveyard. Looks like playing another stone. Alright, so there's an end step discussion. And now it's my turn. So there goes all kinds of cards missing off Agreed. Now Sullivan Library. There's an Amnesia kill shot. Again, I can't see his hand. So I thought there was a lot of cards in there, but I'm not 100% sure. I will pay the 4 spike again. There's a Divine Offering. I don't think it matters at the moment. Looks like I might have something to do about it, but I'm not sure if I want to or not. I don't think it matters at this point in time. I might boomerang it back. Yep. What am I tapping for? Oh, Mirror Universe. I wanted to make sure I had 6 mana left. That's what I was counting for. So I'm at 4. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I had to take a break. Had to do some preparation there. Okay. Just going to try and recall for 1 for a Divine Offering. let that go. Probably because of what's in my hand, but let's see what game plan was. My guess is I have Trike and Coffin. I know he's not playing red. I know he doesn't have direct damage. I know he's not playing Triskelions. Yeah. I know it's going to take more than 2 creatures to get through now. There's a flying man. Not quite sure what we're discussing there, but those are the cards. Oh, yeah, should be removed from the game. I'm not sure what he's... So he's asking about something in my graveyard. There we go. I was going to say, it's supposed to be in your graveyard. And there's the pass. Alright, now after all that discussion, looks like there was no pass yet. Looks like it was a whole discussion about that card. So I ended up countering it. Not sure what the whole discussion was there, but I want him to take damage and stay off of creatures at this moment. So there's a swing for 4. He's going to take it. Alright, so it's a past turn. He drew. Looks like I'm going through my graveyard here quick. Looks like I was looking for specific card count. Alright, there's my life gain engine. Swing for 4 again. That's where I was counting cards. I don't believe I even saw that creature come out. This is where I was talking about announcing. Sometimes when we're doing things and you play a card, if someone's not looking at the screen, they don't know you even played it unless you said you played it. So I think pretty soon I'm realizing, wait a minute, where did that guy come from? But it really doesn't matter all that much because I'm putting a coffin out anyway. That's when I realized, whoa, where did that creature come from? Because I had a remove soul in my hand. So I'll just keep it for the next one. I'm just going to redirect damage. And pass turn. Guess I got amazed at. Looks like I forgot about my own maze. Looks like I forgot to untap some of my lands there too. Alright, so this is where I'm going to prove I had to remove soul. I'm going to counter this one, which I had enough to get rid of both of them, but did not realize the other one was played. So I'm going to keep using the Fountain of Youth here. Keep gaining life back. So on every end step, I'm going to gain a life. And also on end step, I'm going to Coffin and untap Upkeep. So it should be returned tapped. That's what I was trying to explain to him. There we go. Oh, yep. Yes, it returns tapped. So that was me explaining the process. When Coffin returns a creature, it returns tapped. Think we're gonna finally tap her here. Yeah, I think we're still confused. Oh, I'm walking through the process again here. There we go. Sometimes it's hard to explain things in person. So now I'm going to go back to take my turn again. Go back to Solvent Library Trigger. I think right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to separate blue from non-blue maybe. Oh, looks like I had another stone. I have 3 in hand. I'm going to attack for 6. Why did I put a 4 there? That's a accidental bump or something on my end. I'm not sure why, but that's only 3 counters on the trike. I know my board's getting a little full, so I'm trying to separate things as much as possible to be fair to all my players. Alright, well there's an attempt for a dust to dust. Looks like he's asking about a ruling on something. Oh, yeah. So this is where I had to learn and look up. So this I was discussing it before. So basically what I learned on Magic, you'll see me researching it right there. But basically what we learned is because that's a sorcery. It's sorcery speed, and Coffin is instant speed. That you can Coffin your trike at instant speed. It still goes. But what I had to learn was when it comes back. So apparently it will come back your next turn. Alright, so you'll see we looked up the rule from the official Magic the Gathering. The judges said that basically it goes, and then on my start of my turn, it comes back. Now, because it came back into play, it gains +3 counters. Now, technically, it's tapped right now, but as you see, it makes no difference. So I'm just going to shoot him for 6, put it back in my hand. So he is doing everything he can possibly do here. I'm going to actually take my draw step here, because I have to do my draw step. Looks like I had nothing but a bunch of lands, maybe. Let's see what I'm playing here. Looks like I'm trying to separate my non-blue lands out here quick. Looks like I'm looking for the 4 scrub land. Yep, there it is. Alright, so there's the trike. And I will pass. There's the other counter I've been holding the whole game. Or not. Am I doing something else? Oh, maybe I have a pyrotechnics. Alright, so there's the library trigger. I was just explaining it. Swing for 4.
Morning, Alex. I will let Miss Sparks know that you logged in. You're welcome. You too, thank you.
Oh, I just pinged the elemental. Okay. Looks like I'm letting that go too. Maybe I don't have a counterspell in hand. It might have been a bluff the whole time. I know he still can't do anything to me, even with both those creatures. Looks like I'm trying to wonder where all my coffins are. Oh, I just basically showed my hand there. Couldn't quite see all the cards. I know I have some enchantment removals and stuff like that in my hand.
I got you. You too, thank you. Hi, GB. I will mark you present for the day, thank you. You too.
Okay, there's a Maze of Ith. That doesn't bother me because I have a strip mine. Yep, there's the end turn strip. Looks like I'm basically just digging. Now I can use greed at his end step. So it looks like I'm trying to dig a little bit with library before I spend a bunch of life, because my life gain instrument is removed from the game. Now the other one I think is in the graveyard, or I haven't found it yet, one or the other. Yeah, there goes the boomerang, because he's not going to get rid of his enchantment. And he's not going to boomerang my trike, because that's just going to kill him. All I really need is a boomerang too, personally. Oh, there's red. Even though I already had it from the city, but looks like I am still in a tank. Not drawing a lot of my deck here. As you see, there's really not that much in there. Little guy's hanging out with me. If you hear him, he's just trying to say good morning and play with his toys. Looks like I am going to use the life this turn. So on his end step, looks like I'm using the greed. So I'm going to draw a greed. Now I'm going to take my turn. Use Sullivan Library. I might have been waiting for a counter spell. This is what I mean about interrupting in the middle of another thing. So here's another interruption. Try, if you're going to do something, do it before or after. Because I'm technically in the middle of Sullivan Library. Alright, so I'm going to ping him for 1. And then I have to check my cards. But I'm just going to Divine Offering of my own in response. So I'll gain the life. Now I have to remember where I'm at. I don't know if I missed my draw step because I had the 3 Sullivan Library cards in hand, announcing I was playing Sullivan Library. Oh, looks like my little guy's dumping a bunch of Cheerios for me. Hopefully I remember to do everything I needed to do. Alright, so there's the Ivory Tower. Looks like I'm trying to make some room for my little guy here. Alright, so there's a flying man on the table there. I don't know if I noticed that was played or not. But it looks like I'm deciding how much greed to spend. Looks like I'm spending 6. So I'll draw 3 cards for greed. 1, 2, 3. Now it's upkeep. So I should gain my life. Or untap upkeep. Looks like I forgot to put my life dice up there. Oh, I stopped myself and I remembered. Wait, let's count before I touch any cards. There we go. Looks like I gained 4. Now back to library. Let's see if I'm finishing it off here. Amnesia. Okay, he's drawing in response. Again, I have no idea what's in his hand. But there's the death kill, pyrotechnics. So I hope you enjoyed the game. Again, any online reminders, make sure they pile shuffle each time and separate them in 6 piles. Or if the deck is really low, at least 3 piles minimum. But you always want to do 6 until the decks are low. You always want to keep some kind of count or notice of how many cards you have. And if someone says, I'm going to do a Sullivan Library trigger, if you have a response, do it before the trigger starts. Just friendly reminders to help improve, because online is very different from in person. I'm still learning a lot of it myself. I missed tapping some swamps at one point. I do announce it, but you guys can't hear me talk in game, so now we're discussing the different things. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day.